Conservative new media viewers and NBA fans around the world, what's up? It's me, PFE, Paul F. Villarreal, the NBA expert. We're here to discuss Miami's critical Game 2 victory in the 2014 Eastern Conference Finals tonight over the Indiana Pacers by the score of 87-83 in Indianapolis, Indiana. That evens the best-of-7 series up at 1 game apiece. Now, I want to talk about what happened in this game and why it happened and what it means. First of all, let's quickly say that LeBron James had 22 points, 7 boards, 6 assists. DWade, 23 points, 5 boards, 5 assists. And for the Pacers, their best player tonight was Lance Stevenson, 25 points, 6 boards, and 7 assists. First of all, also let me say that we will include information for video highlights in the video description below the video player. So you can click on there, the show more tag, I think it is, and you should find links there to NBA.com where you will find full highlights as soon as they are put up there. LeBron and DWade were huge in the fourth quarter of this game. Miami went into the fourth quarter down by a point, and LeBron and DWade just turned it on. LeBron 12 points in the fourth quarter, DWade 10 points. Believe this is the first victory for Miami in Indiana this season, and they do not traditionally in the Big Three era play real well in Indiana, at least not in the regular season. This was a very big win for that purpose, to kind of get their confidence going and reestablish that they are capable of winning there. Now, what happened tonight is more of what you're likely to see for the rest of the series. Game 1 was kind of an aberration. What I mean by that is there was high offense in the first game, particularly by Indiana. Indiana is not a team that scores over 100 very often. And in the first game, they scored, about 107 points? That was the most I believe they had scored since, March. So what you saw tonight was Miami made defensive adjustments. They locked down on their defensive assignments, how to guard the pick and roll, these types of things. They adjusted it. And this is more of what the rest of the series is likely going to play out like. And so the way that Indiana attacks Miami, the way that they have to attack Miami, is playing what I call bully ball. That means using their size, using their muscle, getting offensive rebounds, getting second chance points, and grinding out the game, grinding out victories. The way that it looked tonight in terms of those statistics, Indiana won the second chance points battle 17-8. They were better in rebounds 41-38 overall, and in offensive rebounds 16-6. This is the formula for Indiana victories. Beat Miami on the boards, beat them on offensive rebounds, get second chance points, use Roy Hibbert and David West to pound the small Miami front line. Keep your turnovers low, which they did a good job of tonight. They had just 11 turnovers to Miami's 13. You need to keep your turnovers low because if you turn the ball over, Miami's going to get out in transition and get easy baskets. Finally, what Indiana did well tonight was they shot the three-pointer well. They were 9 of 19, which is fantastic, 47%. So Indiana did what they needed to do in this game to win, but they still weren't able to win. And that's it's going to be a little discouraging for them, I would imagine, because they got most of what they wanted. Now, they did miss some shots, and Paul George had an awful shooting night, including missing some open shots. He was only 4 of 16, 25%. Miami was able to control Roy Hibbert. He still had 12 points and 13 boards, and he definitely had an impact on the game. But putting Udonis Haslem on him rather than Chris Bosh, switching it up from the first game. That's important. That definitely made a difference in this game. The first game, they went with Shane Battier and Chris Bosh, power forward and center, and it didn't work at all. Just those guys cannot guard David West and Roy Hibbert. It's much better to put Chris Bosh on David West when you can. The reason is David's bigger and stronger than Bosh is, but Bosh has length. He can bother David West's shots. And that's what they needed to do, and they did more of that tonight, which worked out a lot better. Miami, on the other hand, the way that they're going to win is the opposite of the way Indiana's going to win. They have to move the ball well. So does Miami. So does Indiana. But it's more important for Miami because they are forced to become a perimeter-oriented team against Indiana. For example, LeBron had 6 free throws tonight. In the first game, he had like 2 or 3 attempts. Coming into this series, LeBron was averaging like 11 free throws per game in the playoffs. But he can't do that against Indiana primarily because of Hibbert. The whole verticality thing and Roy Hibbert going straight up, and LeBron doesn't want to get offensive fouls. So Miami has to rely on excellent ball movement, transition offense, and good perimeter shooting. Miami was 8 of 20 from three-point range, 40%, which is very good. It wasn't as good as Indiana, but it was enough. And Miami shot the ball well overall. They shot 51% from the field. They must shoot a high percentage. They must shoot well from 3. They must try to get as many rebounds and as many free throw attempts as they can. And similarly to Indiana, they also must keep their turnovers low. Indiana's not a fast-breaking team, but they can hurt you in transition. Paul George, Lance Stevenson, those guys can get out and make you pay if you let them do that. So another thing that we've noticed in the first 2 games of this series, and it was particularly noticeable tonight, was that head coach Frank Vogel of the Pacers is not using his bench much. And it's working in the sense that Indiana starters are outplaying Miami starters overall in the first 2 games. Not by a huge amount, but by enough. The only problem with that is you might wear them down. You might wear them down over a series, and you might wear them down within a game. So if Miami is able to get the advantage in that, get the advantage with their bench, which they did tonight, that's going to help them considerably. They outperformed Indiana's bench substantially tonight in terms of points, rebounds, and assists. And if Miami is able to run their second unit guys out there and keep the score close so that Miami starters can rest more, then that means Miami starters get to go against more tired Indiana starters. And that could really wear down and show up late in the game, which is what happened tonight. So it's tough because when Frank Vogel's going to his bench, they're not doing that well. And if they don't do well at home, then it's probably going to be worse on the road because the general rule of thumb is that role players, bench guys, play better at home than they play on the road. So this is something to look forward to in the 2 games coming up in Miami, Game 3 and Game 4. If Miami is able to even extend their bench dominance, that's really bad news for Indiana. So this is a very tough loss for Indiana. This is tough because, like I said, they got a lot of what they wanted. They were ahead for this game for most of the game, and they still ended up losing. Miami, traditionally in this Big 3 era, this has happened to them several times where they will lose Game 1 and they will come back and win Game 2, and then they will go on to win the series. So that's a good sign for Miami. It's a bad sign for Indiana. I'm looking for Miami to very seriously approach Game 3 and Game 4 on their home court and look for them to absolutely try with everything they have to come into Game 5 in Indiana with a 3-1 lead. Miami knows Indiana can beat them. They're concerned about this team, which means they're not going to have focus issues. Miami is not. So they want to get through this series as fast as they possibly can and not give Indiana any opportunities. So I expect them to come out all guns blazing, so to speak, in Games 3 and Game 4. They want to close this team out and suck the life out of them as fast as they can. What I expect right now, this is what I expected before the playoffs began. I think we are going to see a rematch of the 2013 finals. I think you are going to see Miami and San Antonio going at it again in a couple of weeks. It's a great matchup. A lot of people want to see it. There's a whole bunch of people that felt San Antonio should have won last year, and they certainly had a really good chance to win. I love the way San Antonio is playing right now. They are too deep, in my opinion, for Oklahoma City, because Oklahoma City is missing Serge Ibaka. And so I like the way the Spurs are looking. I'm not saying OKC can't win. I'm not saying Indiana can't win. They're both capable of winning. But I think we are on track for the rematch. And as I talked about it last year, around this same time, I refer to that finals last year and the upcoming finals as the Kobe Armageddon finals. The reason why I call it the Kobe Armageddon finals is that no matter if San Antonio and Miami play again, no matter what happens, it's going to hurt Kobe's legacy. If Tim Duncan gets the finals and wins, he wins his 5th ring, which ties him with Kobe. And then a lot of people will say that Duncan has surpassed Kobe in terms of that generation of players, because Duncan has more finals MVPs and he has more MVPs than Kobe's. So if he ties him in rings, he's probably going to go ahead in the minds of a lot of people. If LeBron gets to the finals this year and wins, he gets a three-peat. And he led the three-peat, which was not the case when Kobe won the three-peat with Shaq leading the way. So I'm sure there's a lot of Lakers and Kobe fans who don't want to see a rematch of last year's finals. But in my opinion, that looks like where we're heading right now. If I had to lean one way or another on which underdog I think could win, has a better chance of winning between OKC and Indiana, and in these conference finals, I would lean towards Indiana. I think the Thunder is going to have a very difficult time beating the Spurs with the way the Spurs are playing and with how much depth they have and with Ibaka out. Indiana is still capable of beating Miami, although it's going to be very difficult now that they lost this game on their home court. Okay, that is it for now. Great. I hope everybody is enjoying the playoffs as much as I am. It is currently 11:38 p.m. here on the East Coast of the United States on Tuesday, May 20th, 2014, which means for our friends that we know a lot of our friends over in Taiwan love these videos and the Jeremy Lin videos, means it is 11:38 a.m. on Wednesday, May 21st, 2014. Your comments below, thumbs up, thumbs down. We also encourage you to come and join the Conservative New Media Facebook group, which has over 3,000 members and counting. You'll find information for the group in the video description below the video player. I hope you guys are all enjoying the weather. In here, it's nicely heating up here in a good way in the northern hemisphere. If you're in the southern hemisphere, I guess it's cooling down. I hope you're having as much fun watching these NBA playoffs as I am. This is my favorite time of the year. I usually will gain 15 pounds just because I'm munching on everything while I watch the games and analyze them. It's a lot of fun. It's almost like Christmas in June or Christmas in May for me. So eager to hear what you guys think about this series. And I hope everybody's doing well. Take care of yourself. We will talk to you soon. Once again, I am Paula Villarreal, PFE, the NBA expert. Thanks very much for watching Conservative New Media. We will talk to you again soon.